If there are better ways to test for concussions, why aren't they being used in high schools? Having gone through the process of injury, diagnosis, recovery, I saw the flaws in the system. I thought maybe I could actually use this and help athletes or anyone with a brain injury.
Tillage is a catastrophic event for the soil and the life that lives in the soil. We no longer use a plow. We have to try and farm more in nature's image. And we like to think that that is a lot of the solution for the bay, the management of the land.
These are the people who get to decide the kind of world they're going to build. These are the voices that belong to the people who get to decide the kind of world they're going to build. These are the campuses that foster the voices that belong to the people who get to decide the kind of world they're going to build. These are the teachers who live for the campuses that foster the voices that belong to the people who get to decide the kind of world they're going to build. You are the students who learn from the teachers who live for the campuses that foster the voices that belong to the people who get to decide the kind of world they're going to build. And we're the community who's forever behind you. The people whose voices sound a lot like the future and will cheer you on as you build it.
I think everybody should have access to energy. I am interested in augmenting the capability of textiles. We came up with a shade structure that could also capture light, store the energy, as well as give light back in the evening. If we can get energy from fabrics, it can be used everywhere.
Our process that we've invented improves survival rate of plants. It's designed to reduce the environmental impact of fertilizers. Better roots make for better plants. I was able to take advantage of Invent Penn State and explore my business idea without all the risk associated. I went from being a plant science student working in a lab to now being an entrepreneur. I feel like I'm making a difference.
These are the people who get to decide the kind of world they're going to build. These are the voices that belong to the people who get to decide the kind of world they're going to build. These are the teachers who foster the voices that belong to the people who get to decide the kind of world they're going to build. And we're the community who's forever behind you. The people whose voices sound a lot like the future and will cheer you on as you build it.
So look at the road map. We go all the way back to bar 5 or 6. What is it? Bar 6. It's a big repeat.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you please rise and remain standing for the academic procession followed by the national anthem? Please rise. Good afternoon. For the 388th time, candidates for baccalaureate degrees from the Pennsylvania State University have gathered to celebrate their commencement. All are in their places. The ceremony you are about to see extends a tradition that is nearly 1,000 years old. The academic dress and ritual have their origins in the first English universities of the Middle Ages. While the day is one of joy and celebration, the commencement ceremony itself calls for dignity and decorum. This is one of the great days of a lifetime for our graduates, their families, and friends. Therefore, we request everyone's cooperation in according the ceremony the quiet respect it deserves. These exercises for spring semester 2018 are hereby called to order.
Thank you, University Marshal Melton. I'm Marie Hardin, Dean of the Donald P. Bellisario College of Communications, and it is my pleasure to welcome you today. We will open with our national anthem, led by Sean Toso, an undergraduate student pursuing his bachelor's degree of music in vocal performance. He is accompanied by the Center Brass Quintet.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. It is wonderful to be here with all of you on this joyous occasion as we recognize and celebrate the accomplishments of these men and women. This afternoon, we're conducting commencement exercises for the Donald P. Bellisario College of Communications. To begin, it is now my pleasure to introduce today's commencement speaker, Mike Marcus. Mike Marcus has built a career that spans more than 50 years in the entertainment industry in a variety of roles, including agent, consultant, producer, talent manager, and president and COO. He started his career in the mailroom of a Hollywood talent agency in 1968 and was promoted to agent by the end of that year. Through the years, at a variety of agencies, including the legendary firm CAA, his clients have included Mel Brooks, Tom Cruise, John Landis, Carl Reiner, and Robin Williams, among others. In addition, Marcus has packaged films such as the Academy Award-winning The Fisher King, the comedy Trading Places, and the horror comedy An American Werewolf in London. As president and COO of MGM Pictures, Marcus oversaw the release of films such as Get Shorty, Kingpin, and Species. Marcus also founded a motion picture distribution company that later merged with Think Film, a Canadian distribution company, in 2004. Marcus was named head of its West Coast office, giving him responsibility for the company's distribution activities. He joined Echo Lake Entertainment in 2006 to start and lead its management division. A longtime supporter of the Donald P. Bellisario College of Communications, Marcus serves as chair of the advisory board for the Penn State Hollywood program and serves on the college's Advancement Council. Marcus and his wife, Patty, live in Topanga, California. They have one daughter, Molly, and 2 grandchildren. We are honored to have Mike Marcus with us today.
Thank you, Dean Harden, and thank you for all you've done for the College of Communications. I also want to thank the faculty and the students and your families. I know most of you are wondering what's in store for you in the future and what it will take to get there. If I do my job properly today, you won't have a clue what's in your future. Just kidding, just kidding. Hopefully my insights should give you some idea how to proceed and what to expect. I grew up in Pittsburgh, and even though I was not a very good student, that's saying lightly, in high school, my mother made it very clear to me, you are going to college. So in 1963, I applied to Penn State and was accepted. If I was applying today, it is highly unlikely that I would be accepted. My father had passed away when I was 16, so I had to work my way through Penn State. When I graduated, I did not want to be drafted into the Army, so I applied to get into the Air National Guard, and as luck would have it, I was accepted and had to report to training camp in Denver. As I was preparing to be released from my tour of duty, I thought, I really like Denver. Why not stay here and get a job? I called my buddy back in Pittsburgh and asked him to move to Denver with me. But he told me he had just accepted a job in LA and asked me to move there with him instead. Okay, I said, figuring it would be easier to move to a new town with a good friend than start my life in Denver knowing no one. So that was my big plan. Move to LA without any job prospects with my friend Jack. I interviewed at a few places and coincidentally met a motion picture agent. When he told me what an agent was and that you had to start in the mailroom at $80 a week, can you imagine $80 a week? I thought, no way. I was a college graduate with an economics degree. I could make $125 a week if I went to work at IBM. But the more I thought about it, the idea of being a motion picture agent intrigued me. Do you know why? My last term at Penn State, one of my classes was the history and the appreciation of the motion picture, a supposed easy A course, which I sorely needed to graduate. I loved it, I got the A, and then I thought to myself, why not a career in show business? So I started interviewing, and a month later, I started in the mailroom at an agency. 50 years later, I still love what I do, and retirement is not on my horizon. The mailroom, believe it or not, is a very valuable experience. You have to start somewhere. Your education can teach you a lot about your chosen profession, but those early entry-level jobs teach you the ins and outs of your industry, how things work, the lay of the land. Most of you will start at the bottom and work your way up. Don't be put off by that. Those early days in the business will give you an opportunity to learn what the business is about and to decide whether or not what you've trained for is actually for you. At your first job, you will be meeting other people who are also relatively new to your industry. You will start building a network. Networking is important, not only in looking for your initial job, but learning about how to get that next job. Call, text, email anyone who can possibly open a door for you. And I can't emphasize it enough. Networking is what it's about. It was a distant cousin in LA who put me in touch with her good friend, a pediatrician, who had a lot of patients who were in the business. He introduced me to an agent at the company I eventually went to work for. No call is wasted. Because once you get into the business, you're on your way. Coincidentally, my wife worked for that pediatrician. I met her through my buddy, who I moved to LA with, of course. And this July, we celebrate our 46th anniversary. While in the mailroom, I took notes for the motion picture meetings, became the driver for the head of the motion picture department when needed, and wrote coverage of movie scripts in longhand. Longhand. Can you imagine? I couldn't type, but I listened and learned a lot. I learned when you say you're going to do something, do it. No excuses. This is business. When you get to a position where there are people working for you and you ask them to do something for you, follow up. Don't assume just because you told them to do something, it will get done. There's an old saying that assumption is the mother of all screw-ups. The actual saying uses another word, but I'm not going to use that today. Be responsible, don't assume. 4 months after I started in the mailroom, the new head of the TV actor department needed a second assistant. Guess who got pulled out of the mailroom to be that second assistant? 4 months after that, my boss knew his department was undermanned, and so I was promoted to agent after only 8 months in the business. The only trouble was I was totally unprepared. I was lucky. I was made an agent so quickly, but I needed help. I was fortunate that an older agent took me under his wing, mentored me, and taught me what I didn't know. He became a good friend, and I was able to hire him years later. I was able to help him years later when I hired him when he needed a job. Remember, treat people the way you want to be treated. I know it sounds silly, but it's the golden rule, and it's absolutely true. Another old saying is, in the business is, be careful not to step on people on your way up, because they will step on you on your way down. And your way down is steep and inevitable. Your career can be wonderful and successful, but it can also have its downturns. Persevere. Now I was an agent and had been given a raise to a lofty $100 a week. I was selling actors to TV shows, only I didn't know what I was doing. I once got an offer for an actress to do a guest starring role on an episode of a TV show. I closed the deal and called the actress and told her about the offer. She said, "Great, I'll read it and let you know if I want to do it." But no one had told me the actress had to say yes before you close the deal. My life passed before my eyes. 8 months to become an agent, and a month in, I thought I was about to lose my job. Thankfully, the actress liked the role, and I was still employed. Luck is not a bad thing to have on your side. I then went on to make deals for 3 then unknown actors, Diane Keaton, Jeff Bridges, Michael Douglas, and many others. Even though I was in the actor department, I was allowed to start working for writers and directors, and before too long, I realized I was better suited to represent them than actors. I honed my craft and found I had a talent for finding unknown directors and developing their careers. By now, I was at a new agency and was still learning. Here's what I learned. Never take no for an answer. When the head of Universal said to me, "Are you crazy? You're trying to sell me Michael Apted, an Englishman, to direct Coal Miner's Daughter, a film about a country and western singer?" I reminded him that Michael had directed a great music film, was great with actors, and this was a script about a singer's life journey, not about country music. Michael got the job. The film went on to be an enormous success, and Sissy Spacek won the Academy Award for Best Actress that year. When the head of Universal laughed at me for trying to get director John Landis a percentage of the profits of Animal House, I pushed hard and finally got him 1 point of the profits. After the film was already in the theaters, Landis made over $1 million off of that 1 point. It was the same when I tried to sell George Lucas a client for Return of the Jedi. After many no's from George, my client got the job. While I pushed my clients, I never did so obnoxiously or by being a jerk. My next chapter was CAA, where I became the co-head of the Motion Picture Writer and Director Department. We were the hottest agency around and soon became the most powerful company in show business. I brought with me my writer and director clients and continued to build from there. I was able to sign Robin Williams after he starred in Good Morning Vietnam. I sold him into most of his biggest hits of his career, including Dead Poets Society, The Fisher King, and Mrs. Doubtfire. I visited Robin on the set of Mrs. Doubtfire. Imagine him in full Mrs. Doubtfire makeup. He starts to talk to me using his regular gravelly voice. How weird to hear that soft voice coming out of that old lady's mouth. When Robin performed the voice of the genie in Aladdin, Disney didn't want to give him a percentage of the profits, even though he basically rewrote the role as he improvised his performance. Because Disney didn't want to break their precedent on giving a profit participation to a voice actor, we finally agreed on a solution. Disney gave Robin a $4 million Picasso painting. Guess what? You can't take 10% of a painting on a commission. Oh well, the client was happy and it was worth the fight. In 1963, I was asked to become the president and chief operating officer at MGM. My client, Tom Cruise, called me and jokingly said, "Good for you, but you'll still be my agent, right?" I never wanted to be a studio chief, but when I thought long and hard about it, I figured I'd done everything I could do as an agent. Why not run a studio? When I started MGM, we had a 2% market share, lowest of all the studios. When I left there 4 years later, after successes like Get Shorty, Species, and Kingpin, we had an 11% market share. Being the head of a studio was fun. As my client Mel Brooks said in one of his films, "It's good to be king." It was. You're part of Hollywood royalty. So what was next? I was asked to start a management division for a production and finance company. That was over 12 years ago. And Echo Lake Entertainment has become one of the more important management and production companies in our business. I have 12 managers working for me now, representing, among others, Elle Fanning, Dakota Fanning, Mandy Patinkin, and many very successful writers and directors in both film and television. We've been involved in producing and or financing many films, including, and TV shows, including Truth, Alexander Payne's Nebraska, and John Carpenter's The Ward. I have mentioned a few things that might be helpful to you as you move up in business. Networking. Did I mention networking? Let's talk about it again. I did. It's good. It's important. Mentoring. Get a mentor. It's valuable. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Being nice is better than being a jerk, and honestly, nice guys don't have to finish last. Don't mistake kindness for weakness. Never assume. If you ask someone to do something, make sure it gets done. It's your responsibility. Be dependable. Don't let your ego get in your way. No one is irreplaceable. Personal integrity is easy to lose, so don't give it up. Once you've lost it, it's pretty hard to get your reputation back. Go after your dreams, persevere. There will be bad times, but you have to hang in there to succeed. It sometimes takes a while to achieve your goal. Be patient. Take your time and do it the right way. You can and will succeed. If I can make it, you guys can. So go out there and kick some butt and make me proud of you. Good luck.
What memorable life lessons in your story, Mike. Thank you for sharing that so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we now turn to the awarding of degrees. Our soon-to-be graduates join undergraduates from 12 other colleges at University Park who are receiving their baccalaureate degrees across campus this weekend. More than 8,800 bachelor degrees are being awarded this spring. I now call upon Dr. Robert N. Pangborn, Vice President and Dean for Undergraduate Education at the university, to introduce the trustee to authorize the conferring of the degrees.
Thank you, Dean Harden. As many of you know, the legal corporate body of Penn State is its Board of Trustees. This is the body that, by our charter, is given final responsibility for the government, welfare, and all the interests pertaining to our university. At this time, I call upon William Oldsey to authorize the conferring of degrees during this ceremony. Mr. Oldsey is a former publishing industry executive and the retired president of McGraw-Hill Education. Before joining McGraw-Hill, Mr. Oldsey was group president for Pearson Education International. His career in educational publishing spans 3 decades and includes a wealth of experience in print and digital teaching and learning products and services for the K-12 higher education and adult education markets. Mr. Oldsey earned his Bachelor of Arts degree in English from Penn State in 1976. In 2009, he received the Penn State Alumni Fellow Award for Outstanding Professional Leadership and Service to the university. And in 2012, he received the College of Liberal Arts Leaders Award. Mr. Oldsey was first elected by Penn State alumni to serve as a trustee in 2013, and he was re-elected in 2016. We're very pleased that he is with us today. Trustee Oldsey.
Thank you, Dean Pangborn. My heartfelt congratulations to all of today's soon-to-be graduates, to your parents, family members, friends, supporters, everyone who is with you here today. I have always personally believed that commencement is one of the most joyous and fulfilling duties that a Penn State trustee has. I find them to be an extraordinary reminder of why our great university is here to begin with, to support our world-class faculty and staff, and the very finest undergraduate students and graduate students in the country as you all work together to achieve excellence in teaching, in research, and in learning. And I'm the first to admit that I just like watching all of you come up here to graduate individually. Your faces, your expressions, sometimes your looks of relief, your smiles, they're all extraordinary. Today, you become newly minted Penn Staters, and you are entering the communications, media, and entertainment arenas at a time when change is literally everywhere, and the pace of that change is so incredibly rapid. Considering that environment, there's no doubt in my mind that you will be the generation of innovators that transforms the way society receives, consumes, uses information and media to make our world a better, more joyous, more informed, and more productive one. As you begin your careers, you take with you all that your Penn State experience and education have provided. And believe me, and Michael said this much more eloquently than I will, but believe me, it will serve you well. Be brave, excuse me, be brave and smart. Trust your instincts. Dare to be innovative and even entrepreneurial. And by all means, make your impact. Wherever you go next, keep showing the world what an incredible group of Penn State Nittany Lions you are. Or should I say, we are. That was lousy. We are. That was good. That was excellent. Okay, now I turn to my official duty. Dean Pangborn, by virtue of the authority vested in and as approved by the Board of Trustees, of the Pennsylvania State University, you are authorized on behalf of the board to confer on each of these candidates the degree earned as certified by the appropriate college faculty and dean.
Thank you, Trustee Olsey, for the authorization of degrees for these candidates assembled. Before we proceed to the conferral of degrees, please note that Penn State is now recognizing our graduates who are actively serving military, veterans, and graduates of our ROTC programs with special red, white, and blue honor cords for their service and sacrifices. At this time, I would ask all graduating military and veteran students who have served our country to please stand. And now will those in the audience who are veterans or active duty members of the military please stand. And please then again join me in thanking all these individuals for their significant contributions to our nation. I now call upon Dean Harden to preside over the conferring of degrees.
Thank you, Dr. Pangborn. Graduation marks an important academic achievement. I am now pleased to recognize the department heads who administer our programs in the Donald P. Bellisario College of Communications. They represent the faculty who certify these students for their degrees. I will introduce the department heads and associate department heads who are members of our platform party. They later will come forward to congratulate the students from those departments. Will each administrator please stand as I call your name and remain standing until all are introduced. Fuyan Shen, Department Head of Advertising Public Relations. Russell Eshelman, Department Head of Journalism. Anthony Olaronashola, Department Head of Film, Video, and Media Studies. Mara Shea, Associate Department Head of Film, Video, and Media Studies. Matt Jackson, Department Head of Telecommunications. And Ford Risley, Associate Dean of Undergraduate and Graduate Education for the Donald P. Bellisario College of Communications. Thank you. You may be seated. Degree candidates, as I call your major, please rise and remain standing until your degree has been conferred. Will the candidates for the Bachelor of Arts degree in Advertising Public Relations please rise? Will the candidates for the Bachelor of Arts degree in Film Video please rise? Will the candidates for the Bachelor of Arts degree in Journalism please rise? Will the candidates for the Bachelor of Arts degree in Media Studies please rise? And will the candidates for the Bachelor of Arts degree in Telecommunications please rise? Dr. Pangborn, Trustee Olsey, I am pleased and proud to present these worthy and approved candidates for the Bachelor of Arts degree.
Thank you, Dean Harden. And now, by the virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I confer upon each of you the degree of Bachelor of Arts with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining. Congratulations. You may now transfer the tassel of your cap from the right to the left side. Please be seated.
We have many to honor this afternoon. More than 700 communications graduates are receiving their degrees, and all of them have excelled in one way or another in their academic work and co-curricular activities. All are special and indeed unique and are deserving of great praise. College student marshals, in recognition of their academic achievement, will receive their marshal certificate on stage. Though we cannot share with you the accomplishments of each graduate, we have identified one student as representative of the class of 2018. I am pleased to present Catherine Litwin, the class marshal for the Donald P. Bellisario College of Communications, escorted today by Assistant Teaching Professor in Journalism, Kurt Chandler. Each year, the class marshal selects a faculty member to represent the entire graduating class as the faculty marshal. This year, Catherine has selected Kurt Chandler. Catherine, a native of Westboro, Massachusetts, is a Schreyer Honors Scholar. She will graduate with bachelor's degrees in broadcast journalism and political science. Catherine's off-campus experiences include serving as an International Programming Department intern with C-SPAN through the Penn State Stanley E. Degler Washington program and the nightly news internship with WCVB-TV in Boston. Since 2015, Catherine served as a researcher and communication strategist through Schreyer, developing and researching the topic of partisan gerrymandering and fake news and their impact on electoral outcomes. On campus, she compiled a variety of broadcast experiences. Catherine was a member of Center County Report, serving as a reporter, anchor, and producer, and served in a similar role with the Penn State News Network. She contributed to Penn Statements, Calliope Literary Magazine, and has written and published a book online. Following graduation, Catherine will be working in New York City with GQR Global Markets in the life sciences sector. Congratulations and best wishes to you, Catherine. I now ask Dr. Ford Risley, Associate Dean for Undergraduate and Graduate Education, to come to the podium. Dr. Risley will call the student marshals for each major and the graduates to the stage. Dean Risley.
Thank you, Dean Harden. We will be calling each graduate to the platform to be recognized. I would like to call upon and thank our Donald P. Bellisario College of Communications nomenclator, Robert Martin, Assistant Dean for Internships and Career Placements, who will introduce individual graduates by department. Let me say a word to our guests today and ask for your cooperation. Most of you have traveled many miles to hear one name, and each name will be heard only if you hold your applause and cheers to the very end. In consideration of everyone who is here today to honor their special graduate, please refrain from applause, cheers, and other noise-making until all graduates have crossed the platform. Then we will applaud their accomplishments together. Our graduates have worked long and hard to earn their degrees, and each one deserves the opportunity to be recognized by his or her family and friends. We will proceed by academic major, beginning with those graduating in advertising public relations. Graduates, please bring with you your card for the nomenclator. Will the candidates for the Bachelor of Arts degree in advertising public relations please rise? Dr. Pangborn, Trustee Oldsey, Dean Harden, Dr. Shen, honored guest, I am pleased to present these worthy and approved candidates in the advertising public relations major. Accepting the Marshal's certificate on behalf of the advertising public relations major is Student Marshal Natalie Guarna, escorted by Faculty Marshal Associate Professor Frank Dardis. As Faculty Marshal for the advertising public relations major, Professor Dardis has been selected to award the Marshal certificate. Natalie, from Newtown, Pennsylvania, is a Schreier Honors Scholar. She will graduate with a bachelor's degree in advertising public relations and psychology. Natalie has completed a corporate ad sales internship at Scripps Network Interactive in New York City, a market research internship at Optimal Strategic Group, and was a social media evaluator for Appen. At Penn State, she served as a marketing and writing contributor for Spoon University and as a researcher in the Media Effects Lab. She was also president of Operation Smile. In addition, Natalie created Music to My Mouth, an Instagram page that pairs food pictures with love song lyrics and currently has nearly 23,000 followers. She also has an Music to My Mouth blog and offers social media consulting. Following graduation, she will continue her education in the Master of Behavioral and Decision Sciences program at the University of Pennsylvania. Congratulations and best wishes to you, Natalie.
Kelly Mengel, Hannah Kratky, Taylor Shuko, Alexandra Velasquez, Taya Price, Lisa Marie Acerba, Kirsty Moyer, Anna Lewis, Jordan Allen, Lindsay Bell, Carly Miller, Gabriella Pagano, Caitlin Kemmerer, Nicholas Miller, Yiyon Feng, Susanna Sun, Jianyi Li, Yuking Zhang, Russell Love, Evan Rubenstein, Emily Bragier, Gabrielle Sacedo, Brooke Savoy, Allison DeLucio, Emily Giuliano, Kelly Clark, Jingnan Miao, Natasha Bell, Jinyu Zhang, Jessica Rogowitz, Caitlin Gillen, Taylor Donahue, Alyssa Battaglia, Alexander Crow, Emily Major, Shannon Dool, Nicole Glass, Gabriella Sikenzi, Alexandra Cohen, Flory Silverman, Shanna Kraus, Kendra Paro, Madison Kelly, Rachel Goldberg, Gabrielle Reber, Nicholas Connick, Jack Schweitzer, Derek Rieger, Jordan Carr, Jessica Obriot, Sarah Sherman, Madeline Murray, Jordan Mandel, Danielle Samsky, Lucy Slater, Hallie Proper, Alyssa Scotto, Gabrielle Peretti, Erica Salo, Heather Wagner, Maura Fedorov, Carolyn Kushwa, Randy Ivler, Haley Barron, Emily Silverman, Courtney Conan, Emily Schlackman, Kelly Smith, Emily Horwitz, Christella Pappas, Tiana Carlin, Samantha McCormick, Courtney Carroll, John Klaus, Leona Kogan, Jessica Herman, Haley Levitt, Jacqueline Present, Jesse Campbell, Melanie Gundersheim, Reina Delermo, Casey Koshea, Olivia Talbot, Gabrielle Baum, Amelia Pascarella, Lindsay Silling, Eleanor King, Susanna Foos, Brianna Kimmick, Chandler Roby, Gabriel Grand, Francis Donato, Jamie Sellinger, Alexis Kamatsu, Samantha Lassen, Brittany Rose Sandler, Sydney Rena, Jamie Mason, Jamie Hammer, Jennifer Finkelstein, Julia Hyman, Sarah Blosvern, Emily Mooney, Sarah Abdallah, Elizabeth Sabatelli, Molly Power, Lauren Smith, Alexandra Nicoletos, Stephanie Klein, Jacqueline Brown, Christine Baudet. Charlotte Moriarty. Ashley Areopagita. Gabrielle Joachim. Emma Stewart. Kristen Topolesky. Kayla Raymonds. Megan Reinhardt. Alyssa Palfy. Hannah Mulhern. Megan McCluskey. Xuan Zhang. Shihan Geng. Jenna Stokloza. Chelsea Silbiger. Anna Klink. Marissa Young. Shane Techlitz. Kelly Nolan. Haley Staub. Kirsten Riley. Nicholas Malizia. Olivia Obud. Amanda Spencer. Molly Kenny. Katie Kennedy. Megan Erickson. Kalina Crow. Abigail Ventosa. Caitlin Dillon. Kelly Madence. Bonnie Greenwald. Enos Munfajan. Isabella De Palma. Melissa Leak. Nellie Shaw. Bianca Cantelmi. Matthew Johnson. Madeline Miller. Megan Berryman. Avery Felty. Meredith Braun. Nicole Abanasser. Jillian Susi. Kira Rogan. Katie Jordan. Vincent Faust. Sean Davey. Hannah Schwalberg. Chase Hinterleiter. Alexis Derman. Mackenzie Agresti. Monica Murphy. Rebecca Mitrioni. Annika Hallstrom. Julia Serwinski. Chanel Heinze. Shelby Paul. Megan Irvine. Megan Ryboltowski. Sienna Shoup. Mark Auker. Gretchen Lederer. Jane Cassidy. Marina Lamberti. Monica Leone. Kelly Parlak. Stephanie Kovacs. Maureen Ansel. Brian Isaacs. Madison Woodrow. Anna Stanko. Sarah Ann Salter. Marissa DiGennaro. Isabella Fordyce. Leah Freark. Emily Peacock. Jayla Akers. Tiona Ringgold. Lindsay Edling. Kayla Molesky. Rebecca Sorensen. Kelsey Ahern. Christine Sibley. Caitlin Gailey. Aaron Gilday. Michael Forster. Madison Gilkin. Zachary Jones. Daniel D'Elia. Angela Fike. Amanda Kamens. Amaria Crisafoli. Allison Infante. Yaraset Castillo. Catherine Formicella. Miranda Francois. Lauren Goodyear. Chelsea Miller. Jonathan Harris. Kevin Ang. Max Campbell. Martin Castellan. Jessica Sweeney. Joseph Nijeko. Alexis Babcock. Grayson Dixon. Maria Kashera. Allie Taggart. Madeline Marino. Joanna Nikopoulos. Taylor McEntee. Laura Ritchie. Kalissa Smith. Samantha Levesey. Olivia Hort. Jessica Freza. Alexandra Maniglia. Alexandra Andreatis. Samantha Mayhew. Emma Mathis. Anna James. Sean Fox. Audrey Wanamaker. Margaret Achill. Carolyn Popescu. Molly Jennings. Amy Minich. Jacqueline Smith. Nicole Gelb. Bianca Egas. Sloan O'Reilly. Alex Scheinman. Emily Marks. Rachel Gelderks. Sarah Corsi. Nicole Fisher. Brendan McCabe. Alexander Honeywell. Joanna Carrasco. Clarabelle Rivas. Elijah Foran. Wenxin Han. Hyunjae Lee. Byungjae Lee. Erica Cruz. Olivia Burdak. Elizabeth Karcheski. Molisel Acosta. Samantha Horvath. Destiny Jenkins. Daniel Duffield. Emily Cataldo. Chanel Secreto. Yanhui Lee. Cassie Chisun Yang. Hyunshu Yi. Shelby Wetherell. Laura Pasco. Roberta Atkins. Kara Lester. Natalia Mojica. Siyu Yi. Tingyi Tiani So. Zong Yue Shu. Madeline Dooney. Nicole Belinsky. Caleb Angus. Madison Hahn. Carly Stark. Leah Dabrowski. Kristen John. Megan Madiola. Lilia Walls. Anthony Acree. Samuel Connor. Mariana Mata Monteros.
Enjoy the moment. Congratulations, young man. Congratulations. Enjoy the moment.
Will the candidates for the Bachelor of Arts degree in Film Video please rise? Dr. Pangborn, Trustee Oldsey, Dean Harden, Dr. Olorunsola, Professor Shea, and honored guest, I am pleased to present these worthy and approved candidates in the Film Video major. Accepting the Marshal's certificate on behalf of the Film Video major is Student Marshal Jamie Chan, escorted by Faculty Marshal, Assistant Teaching Professor Rod Bingaman. As Faculty Marshal for the Film Video major, Professor Bingaman has been selected to award the Marshal certificate. Jamie from Westchester, Pennsylvania, gained a wide range of real-world experiences while at Penn State. For 2 years, she worked as a talent assistant and a production assistant with Bunham Murray Productions for the fashion show Project Runway, shot in Long Island, New York. Most recently, through the Penn State Hollywood program, she completed a production internship with Cartoon Network Studios for the show Powerpuff Girls. Jamie's on-campus experience includes serving as an ad designer and comic artist for the Daily Collegian, a cinematographer and editor with PSN TV, and an anchor writer for Com Radio. She also directed and produced several films that were showcased in the Penn State Blue and White Festival, one of which continued to place third at the BEA Regional Creative Works Competition. Jamie was recently selected as one of 5 Penn State students to receive a John W. Oswald Award for Outstanding Leadership. Following graduation, she plans to move to California and to pursue her passion for film and animation. Congratulations and best wishes to you, Jamie.
Morgan Coral. Jacob Hatfield. Anya Swanson. Corey Ross Robertson. Devin Baker. Zachary Lansing. Jessica Meath. Nicole DeFlory. Emily Laird. Tyler Nyquist. Mark Pittman. Hunter Moon. Joseph Quill. Quentin Smith. Yushi Han. Lexi Chin. Tiana Tang. Melanie Newton. Ritu Shaw. Lauren Rader. Jacinta Bowen. Joyce Lim. U.B. Chenshi Jai. Grayson Schutzman. Nicholas Raphael. Hannah Hay. Megan Range. Robert Engel. Jonathan Baker. Andres Zabala Nieto. Tiffany Breon. Juliana Whalen. Marion Mullen. Ira Sadiq. Ashley Sklack. Ryan Smith. Mary Fennell. Clement Martell. Hallie Cottle. Jacqueline Tremblay. Evelyn Garcia. Morgan Goranson.
Yeah, all of them. Congratulations. Enjoy the moment.
Will the candidates for the Bachelor of Arts degree in journalism please rise? Dr. Pangborn, Trustee Oldsey, Dean Harden, Professor Eshelman, and honored guest, I am pleased to present these worthy and approved candidates in the journalism major. Accepting the Marshal's certificate on behalf of the journalism major is Student Marshal Emily Coleman, escorted by Foster Professor in Writing and Editing, Tony Barbieri. As Faculty Marshal for the journalism major, Professor Barbieri has been selected to award the Marshal's certificate. Emily from Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania, is a Schreier Honors Scholar. She will graduate with bachelor's degrees in journalism and Russian. Emily has interned with WPSU and with Calkins Media at the Beaver County Times. During the U.S. presidential election, she studied in the nation's capital through the Stanley E. Degler Washington program and interned with the Czech Television's U.S. correspondent. She covered the 2016 Republican National Convention for McClatchy and the Pennsylvania News Media Association. In spring 2017, through the International Reporting class, she covered the Cuban migrant crisis in Panama. This fall, Emily traveled to Latvia to interview Russian journalists for her bilingual honors thesis. At Penn State, she was also a member of PSN News and Com Radio and the director of the Bellisario College's Peer Mentor Program. Following graduation, Emily will serve as a summer intern with CNN's Reliable Sources. As a Fulbright Award recipient, Emily will complete an English teaching assistantship in the Czech Republic in 2018-19. Her dream is to become a foreign correspondent. Congratulations and best wishes to you, Emily.
Jillian Beckman. Michael Davella. Jack Molesky. Quenne Dale. Thomas Loro. Greta Lindsley. Lisa Benetton. Alex Altieri. Emmeline Neves. Lynette Flores. Christy Sue. Michael Sartini. Colin Sullivan. Julia Pogi de Mendonça. Catherine Shea. John Yule. Jasmine Lomax. Sydney Jean. Ina Yu. Madison Myers. Maddie Almer. Stephanie DeStasio. Erica Planer. Gianna Kozazian. Sophia Check. Anchi Wang. Tianshu Gi. Taylor Brennan. Paula Hermsdorf. Kendall Higdon. Kelsey McHugh. Katie Lamarca. Alyssa Inman. Mario Maghetto. Adriana Lacey. Nicole Dantzler. China Council. Jordan Green. Jennifer Wilson. Tyler Proctor Jackson. David Datillo. Kelly Cochran. Megan Dwyer. He Namgong. Chidera Allison. Sarah Geiselman. Eric Chambliss. Christopher Weigel. George Stockberger. Kelsey Cairns. Alyssa Cheehee. Alyssa Devine. Eric Olson. Emilio Sanchez. Chandler Copenhaver. Alexander Bobbin. Amanda Bell. Matthew Martell. Vincent Longaro. Sarah Vasile. Lauren Davis. Mark Fisher. Samantha Ruland. John Capabianca. Emily Certo. Naja Brown. Jamila White. Jamie Williams Dawson. Brian Montasano. Adithya Pugaranthi. Jasmine Graham. Kalfani Mead. Robert Brown. James Turchick. Ryan Bertie. Mario DePaulo. Eric Arroyo. Erica Patterson. Sarah Kagaris. Lauren Freed. Catherine Paletta. Antonia Jaramillo. Jalen Penrose. Mark Polio. Michael Spack. Gregory Mertolinsky. Joseph Esquivel Murphy. Zachary Seiko. Matthew Harvey. John Miller. Chrysovolandis Karopakis. Julia Galelli. Alexandra Bosara. Alyssa Gregory. Bianca Portillo Maldonado. Zania Maldonado. Katie McFadden. Matthew Castle. Ronald Redden. Kelly McNeese. Victoria Morales. Kelly Chartrand. Stephanie Pani. Julia King. Benjamin Dennis. Peter Olin. Sierra Phillips. Mia Spence. Fallon Good. Taylor Mason Little. Katarina Prosick. Abigail Sales. Thomas Daltrey. Bradley Wakwai. Alexandra Lake. Catherine Moholarekis. Michelle Briscoe. Aaron Corrigan. Jordan Stobart. Amani Allen. Lucas Vilca Chavez. Jaylene Murray. Samantha Siciliano. Blake Friedman. Benjamin Doyle. Olivia Hogan. Haley DePreda. Kylie Mester. Carly Stracker. Chloe Cullen. Margaret McCarthy. Jack Cannelli. Samuel Horball. Carolyn Reese. Chi Tang. Devin Troutman. Ben Rappaport. Dana Smith. Richard Doherty. Caroline Walls. Jessica Festuca. Ann Heffernan. Matthew Schaefer. Andrew Henry. Mason Galena. Ryan Cornelius. Carly Pendergast. Stephanie Ulix. Leanna Rizzi. Lindsay Anderson. Gabriela Castano. Christina Butera. Alexis Medina. Samantha Loriello. Stephanie Molina. Myra Gomez Gonzalez. Danielle Frischman. Amanda Trusky. Megan Fleming. Jennifer Fabiano. Rashana Lee. Zhu Zhu. Baidi Wang. Jiayu Wu. Zhuxuan Li. Alex Spinelli. Ryan Jaquette. Jordan Frederick. Claire Powers. Catherine Filling. Zachary Jennings. Amy Lay. Allison Lavelle. Samantha Marzullo. Jeray Willis Jr. Benjamin Lambert. Callie Curley. Julia Gaindon. Alexandra Lehman. Sydney Ferguson. Eric Oakley. Caitlin Farnan. Dylan Livers. Corey Weinstein. Morgan Hammerman.
Will the candidates for the Bachelor of Arts degree in Media Studies please rise? Dr. Pangborn, Trustee Oldsey, Dean Harden, Dr. Olorunsola, Professor Shea, and honored guest, I am pleased to present these worthy and approved candidates in the Media Studies major. Accepting the Marshal's certificate on behalf of the Media Studies major is Student Marshal Ifan Chow, escorted by Distinguished Professor Mary Beth Oliver. As faculty marshal for the Media Studies major, Professor Oliver has been selected to award the Marshall Certificate. Yifan, a native of China, will graduate with a bachelor's degree in Media Studies and a minor in psychology. During his time at Penn State, Yifan compiled an impressive list of experiences. Last summer, he completed a marketing solution internship with LinkedIn. He has also served as word-of-mouth marketing monitor intern at Baidu Incorporated, as a researcher and editorial assistant with Forbes, and an intern with AXA. He also served as a Chinese instructor at BNU HBKU United International College. Yifan's on-campus experiences include serving as a teaching assistant for an introductory communications class and an upper-level communications class. He also served as a research assistant and led and participated in studies regarding human-computer interaction and computer-mediated communication. Following graduation, he will look to complete his PhD in communication from the University of California, Davis. Congratulations and best wishes to you.
Kevin Dunn. Hannah Fingerhood. Jamie Cardia. Caroline Scarletto. Erin Pugh. Anisha Weimer. Brianna Maddox. Michelle Sebastro. Samantha Cohn. Caitlin McCrory. Catherine Stansberry. Marnie Siegel. Emma Caldecott. Harley Weinstein. Alyssa Waldar. Lindsay Cohen. Kyria Aids Aaron. Brittany Butler. Michelle Thomas. Ian Meyer. Bailey Phillips. Jonathan Davis. Murthura Malagam Surakomakar. Yitung Fu. Michael Muldoon. Wenyan Wang. Ye Liu. Qingman Chu. Mingxiu He. Tyler Melofchik. Martha Shoup. Genevieve Amabile. Megan Butter. Autumn Spahn. Caitlin Dedeo. Benjamin Palmieri. Salvatore Mattioli. Zachary Israeli. Colleen Canavan. Guang Yang. Aipang Wang. Di Huang. Macy Saletti.
Will the candidates for the Bachelor of Arts degree in telecommunications please rise? Dr. Pangborn, Trustee Oldsey, Dean Harden, Dr. Jackson, and honored guest, I am pleased to present these worthy and approved candidates in the telecommunications major. Accepting the Marshal's certificate on behalf of the telecommunications major is Student Marshal Lean Obidat, escorted by Faculty Marshal, Palmer Chair in Telecommunications, Sasha Manrath. As Faculty Marshal for the telecommunications, Professor Manrath has been selected to award the Marshal's certificate. Lean, a native of Jordan, is a Schreier Honors Scholar. She will graduate with bachelor's degrees in telecommunications and finance. She most recently served as business manager for the Daily Collegian. In that role, she managed a total of 88 employees across 5 departments, overseeing marketing, operations, and financials to ensure the stability and sustainability of the organization. Previously, she served as a sales manager and account executive at the Collegian. Off campus, Lean completed a marketing and telecommunications internship with West Ariat in State College and 2 internships in Saudi Arabia. One as a commercial innovation intern with Abu Dawood Group, focusing on Procter & Gamble, and one as a summer intern with the construction and investment company, a member of the Taylor Group. Congratulations and best wishes to you, Lean.
Dondre Shivers. Adriana Nunez. Cameron Dodd. Sydney Farrell. Dylan Panapresso. Zachary Armstrong. Justin Lacey. Jonathan Masonette. Kevin McKnight. Matthew McGraw. Brendan McPoyle. Michael Piazza. Bennett Dunn. Nicholas Wilburn. Joshua Barney. Apurva Garagabadi. Renee Duffy. Claire Cooney. Paige Saihoyos. Noah Hikes. Jinsol Kim. Judah Jameson. Markia Freeman. Leroy Billups III. Jung-hyo Emily Wu. Heewon Jinya Park. Jayoon Ella Zhong. Yong Hyo. Estefani Reales. Courtney Reese. Helen Sarmiento. Emily Paulus. Megan Fox. Nicole Schaefer. Lauren Malosha. Shannon Hand. Christian Cochran. Thomas Lindsay. Shane O'Shea. Carly Gould. Kaylee Flanagan. Julia Veronese. Jared Cortez. Brienne Felty. Haley Kirby. Jonathan Nolan. David Gradzik. Colleen Gall. Casey West. Jaeyoon Kim. Jishu Wen. Alexandru Vlad. Evan Halpern. Catherine Loesch. Dana Lehman. Philip Poltarek. Jair Barcini. Timothy Lockery. Riley Denton. Nicholas Sampone. Christopher Seekey. Tanner Rex. Yutong Zhao. Maxwell McCullough. Malik Moffett. Brian Kang. Seth Eisen. Colin Yaus. Cody Palumbo. Hanyun Shea. Michael Abanizio. Kristen Iglesias. Greta Guthrie. Tara Smith. Mariska Superman. Melanie Camel. Nicholas Crawford. Toby King. Rebecca Kovacs. Jake Mitchell. Tianyi Zhang. Yi Shen. Derek Williams II. Xiangyun Wan. Juliet Busby. Sandra Carrillo. Carl Kulanda. Emily Gaines. Riley Charles. Rachel Klobus. Luke Needleman. Chase Matesic. Agata Zelenska. Mark Ferreira. Trevor Hayes. Sarah Chigarich. Pedro Roach. Hannah Michael. Minwoo Wan. Peter Pham. Akshat Chanana. Kaylin Gomez. Caitlin Estelo. Don Cole. Jacob Greco. Evan Fleischauer. Laura Polishuk. Mark Sands. Kenneth Grozier. Tima Pinto. Alexandra Ortiz. Kongsui Lee. Rishong Guo.
This concludes the awarding of the baccalaureate degrees. Please join me in recognizing the accomplishments of the new graduates of the Donald P. Bellisario College of Communications. As a land-grant institution, we are chartered to offer the opportunity for training in the military service. And at Penn State, we have programs in the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines. Will any graduates of the Pennsylvania State University Reserve Officer Training Corps please rise? Dr. Pangborn, it is a privilege for me to present the graduate of the Reserve Officer Training Corps as an officer who will serve in the Armed Forces of the United States.
Thank you, Dean Harden. And on behalf of the Pennsylvania State University, I congratulate you. Please be seated.
Ladies and gentlemen, I now ask that you turn to the front portion of the printed program where graduates' names are listed. We now would like to recognize graduates who have accomplished meritorious achievement. These are students who have completed the required number of credits at the university and are graduating in the top 12% of their class. The 12% is divided into 2% summa cum laude, 4% magna cum laude, and 6% cum laude. Upon completion of the grades for the spring semester, additional names will be added to the list. Diplomas will have this academic achievement noted on the official document. Students who are graduating summa cum laude are wearing a blue and white cord. Students who are graduating magna cum laude are wearing a blue cord, and students who are graduating cum laude are wearing a white cord. Please hold your applause until all students in all three categories are standing. Will those students graduating summa cum laude please rise? Will those students graduating magna cum laude please rise? And now, will those graduating cum laude please rise? Congratulations. You may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Pangborn, this concludes the recognition of those graduating with scholastic distinction. I would like to thank a final group of students. Many of you, during your 4 years here, pledged the college's Student Honor Code during your undergraduate studies. Thank you for pledging to live by this code of ethics, both as students in the college and as you move into your careers and your lives. As our speaker, Mike Marcus, said earlier, quote, "Take your time and do it the right way." And I think those are words of wisdom. To all of you, thank you for carrying the college and Penn State names with integrity in all you do. Graduates, I now would like your help in recognizing an additional group, the faculty of the Donald P. Bellisario College of Communications. Your professors who guided your education here are joining us today, and they have played a significant role in your intellectual and personal growth. They have shared with you their academic and professional expertise, both in and out of the classroom. They believe in you and in your ability to succeed. Faculty, will you please rise And will all please join me in thanking this group of talented, dedicated scholars and professionals. Thank you. On behalf of the university, the Donald P. Bellisario College of Communications, and its class of 2018, we want finally to recognize the unsung heroes and heroines of the day. Their sacrifices have enabled these graduates to have a Penn State education. Their sense of commitment and, on occasion, their sense of humor have been invaluable. They have been silent at times and vocal on occasion, but most importantly, they were there when these graduates needed support. Would the graduating class rise and face the audience? Face the audience? Now, would our unsung heroes, the parents, the guardians, the spouses, the relatives and friends, please rise. Graduates, join me. Please be seated. With the conferral of degrees today, each of you now becomes an alumna or an alumnus of the Pennsylvania State University. It gives me great pleasure to call again on Trustee Oldsey.
Thank you, Dean Harden. Congratulations, graduates. The Penn State Alumni Association celebrates your successes and welcomes you into a proud network of Penn Staters. Your Alumni Association is powered by pride. More than 174,000 alumni and friends like you keep their connection to our world-class university, and they keep it strong through membership in the Penn State Alumni Association. Today, on behalf of the Alumni Association, I am honored to share our graduation gift to you, a one-year free membership in the Penn State Alumni Association. Such a deal, right? Your membership keeps you in touch with Penn State and connects you with more than 300 geographically dispersed alumni chapters, interest groups, and college and campus societies, no matter where you'll live, what you've studied, or which campus you attended. We have a group that matches your interests. One of the other things Michael talked about was networking. I encourage you to use the Alumni Association for valuable networking that you'll be doing over the next few years as you launch your careers. It works. After graduation, once you're settled, reach out to your local Penn State alumni chapter. Your Penn State family will be happy to hear from you. And in the coming years, when you come back to Happy Valley and Penn State, we hope you'll enjoy your time on campus. Stop by the Hintz Family Alumni Center at University Park. With that, we would like to ask our new graduates to please rise. Would you please all stand? Now, I would like to ask all other Penn State alumni who are here with us today to rise as well. It gives me great pleasure to induct all the graduating students of the Pennsylvania State University into the Penn State Alumni Association officially. Congratulations, one and all. Please, good job. Please be seated.
Thank you, Trustee Oldsey, and thanks to all of you for being here for this great celebration today. Following the departure of the platform party, the faculty and the student marshals, all students will be dismissed by rows by the university marshals. Students should then exit the Jordan Center with a plan to meet family members outside the arena as guests for the next ceremony will be arriving. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we end our commencement ceremonies. We will be led in singing the Alma Mater by Mr. Toso. The words can be found on the inside front cover of the program. Will you please stand and remain standing until the academic procession has exited? Thank you.